What's up, fellow clashers? The Pauline here, and decided to do kind of like an instruction tutorial how-to video for this one. I've seen it in our wars and people attacking us and other wars that the funneling for the entry for the kill squad is usually what makes or breaks a lot of the attacks. Difference between getting 1 star, 3 stars, sometimes 2 stars, whatever it is. And I think we'll just cover like how to do the funneling. We're not going to go ahead and cover, where the best part to break in. We're just going to assume that these are the best spots, or that they're decent spots. It could be argued you can come in different angles, different sides, everything like that. That's not what we're going to be talking about. It's once you pick your side you decide that's where you're going to come in. It's the best way to funnel your way into there and decide what you're going to get. And we're not going to even really discuss too much of the army composition and count of how many of whatever unit or army you should bring in to do your kill squad. Again, this is all just about funneling. We might talk a little bit about the counts just for what you will need to funnel, but we're not going to go in for what the best army composition for it is and all that kind of stuff. So, there's 3 ways to go ahead and jump in or to break into a core or wherever you're trying to get to, or to break through the walls. One is wall breakers. They'll be able to get you in there, and we're going to go ahead and bust out the pen in a little bit. The first one, wall breakers, like I said. Second way is the jump spell, and the third is quad quake. Obviously, you're going to use the strategy mostly from Town Hall 8 on up to Town Hall 9, 10, and 11. Town Hall 8s do not get a jump, so they have to either use wall breakers or quad quakes, or just have their valks or king or whoever pound the walls, which is the least efficient. So we're going to go ahead and show a couple of attacks that are failed, and a couple of them that are good. And it's not really to point anybody out or anything like that. It's just that, I could probably pick tons of different examples of bad entries, including my own. So this is just what's available to me right now. So what we're going to do is, when we're going to pick a place, we've assumed we've already picked the place that we're going to come in, and then we got to decide what the best way to get into that place is. So in this example, you need to decide what attack you're going to do, and again, that's a whole nother video. But in this example, we're going to do a Laloon. So he's going to go ahead and take a Zap Quake, which is going to take out this particular AD. And again, we're not going to talk about which is the best or worse or anything like that. But that's the decision to take out that AD. And what he wants to do is he wants to come in from the bottom here, and he wants to be able to take out the AD with the kill squad. Both of these ADs with the kill squad. So we'll go ahead and eliminate 3 ADs, and he has 2 Lava Hounds to come in and take out this last one right here. So really the importance of this raid, or the success of this raid, is going to be determined by taking out these 3 air defenses that we've just circled in red. So if he does not get that, it's going to be very hard to get that 3 stars. If he only gets 2 of the ADs, it's very, very likely there could be things that happen that make it go well, but it's very likely it will be a 1-star attack, maybe very luckily 2-star. So what do we need to do in order to get in and kill this? So we can choose to do a jump, we can choose to do a quad quake, we can choose to do wall breakers. Now obviously in this particular one, we're going to go ahead and use a jump spell. Using a quad quake, it takes a lot out of your spells. He's already using Zap Quake. That doesn't really leave us with too many more to do. So wall breakers, if you guys know the wall breaker AI, they'll always go for the closed compartment with something inside. And this particular compartment right here has nothing inside. So wall breakers, if you drop them, will go straight into here and straight into here, and break the edges or somewhere around here, and will not get what you want to have accomplished. So wall breaking for this example, is not the best option. So for this option, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and drop the jump spell, and we're going to drop a jump spell right here, and we're not going to connect with this portion of the clan castle area. We don't want it to. We want the kill squad to come up here, and take out all the buildings and work their way and be trapped in these compartments and not be able to jump into the core where the clan castle is or the town hall. They would need to take out these 2 air defenses, and that's the goal. So that's the ultimate thing. It doesn't matter how long it doesn't matter, if they all die there or whatever, as long as they take out those 2 air defenses. Now, we have a little hindsight. We got a little lucky here because we did scout, and we saw that that there's a couple tricky Teslas here. But before we get into that, you're going to have to decide how you are going to funnel and get your kill squad, whatever it is, a stoned entry, a cold-blooded entry with golems, no golems, Pekkas, whatever it is, of how you're going to get up there. They need to make their way into that core. But there's a lot of these buildings here, such as this, and the 2 cannons, all the barracks, the elixir, the spell factory, and the same thing on this side of buildings that will distract your royals, your king and your queen, and Valkyries or Pekkas. So only the giants and hogs and loons will go straight for the defenses and then straight in for the defense. So you're going to really have to worry about clearing out these trash buildings in the most effective way. So the only way we can do that is by looking at the defenses and what's there. So for this one, we're gonna go ahead and see where the range is for these archers. And unfortunately I have it on replay, so we can't really see. Let's just back out of it. And we'll go ahead and scout this. So we'll go ahead and take a look at this base, and we'll see what buildings we need to clear out. We'll look at what's in range and the most effective way to clear the buildings out themselves. So the first thing that we can see is that we have 2 cannons here. So that eliminates all of our ground armies to be able to start doing the funneling. Some of the options we have is air then. There is nothing that will hit air anywhere around. Let's just bring this back again. All the way in this area right here, there's really not too much that will hit air. There's a couple, but it's very limited. So we can look at using air, and there's nothing that will hit air in this whole entire area right here until you get into the air defenses range. So a lot of air is our option here. We look at the range of the archer tower, and we see that some of the buildings are out of the archer tower's range with air as well. So we can go ahead and drop some of our minions, since they're the best way to clear, cheapest and most efficient. We can drop a minion right here, and that will go ahead and target this barracks. Same thing on this side, since they're symmetrical. Drop a minion right here, and it will be out of the archer tower's range there. Also, we can drop a minion right here and right here on each of these sides. And what that will do is that will show you, that will go ahead and they'll start the funneling as far as taking out some of the trash buildings and getting some of the defense done as well. So our main goal here is to take out as many of these buildings as we possibly can and streamline this so that when we drop our kill squad in, they will go straight into the core. Eliminating these particular buildings is a great way to start that, because we kind of have a runway of where our kill squad will go. Without those buildings there is a path right here and a path right here of where the existing buildings are left. So there's nowhere else for any of the kill squad to go ahead and deviate or start walking around. Now you hear many people when they do their attacks, they say my valks walked, my queen walked, my king walked, my Pekka walked. And you know, Supercell does have some AI problems, but for the most part, when I watch those attacks, I see exactly where it went wrong and why they did walk. It's you know, it's all about the funneling, getting it to the point where you're going to channel your kill squad in there, and it's also about the timing of when you're going to go ahead and drop these you know, your kill squad. Also, some things to take note. Look at where the opposing royals are. Look at where your enemy barbarian king and queen are, right here and right here. So the enemy barbarian king and queen have they're fantastic for kill squads, especially Valkyries, kings, queens, and Pekkas, to grab aggro and to pull them into where you want them to go. So when you see a queen altar right here, and that will show you where the aggro is, you'll see how far the aggro is. So if you can get them anywhere in this radius, and the queen starts shooting at any of those units like Pekkas, Valkyries, king, queen, they will automatically gain aggro and they will stop what they're doing and start running at the queen. So that's another thing you can keep in mind when you're deploying your troops. So when we did a scouting job on this, what we found was there was a couple tricky Teslas in here that kind of compounded a little bit of a problem here. And the Teslas are right here. Very, very badly placed, but as a troll place. So it ruins initial attacks. For the cleanup attack, you'll see it's very, very simple. We did have the hindsight to use that. This attack was still not done correctly, and we'll see the fail. Dropped 2 loons instead of 1, and a couple other things went wrong. But the main thing we want to do here, and we're not going to watch the whole attack, we're just going to watch the entry. Because, again, what we want to do is drop those minions down, and in this case, we're going to have to drop a loon or 2 loons to take care of those Teslas that pop. And then we're going to go ahead and wait until these minions take care of this cannon, both of these cannons. And just as they go down, we're going to go ahead and drop a jump spell right here to connect and drop those golems down. In this instance, it gets a little bit rushed and it ends up dropping the golems really fast to be able to take care of the clan castle and tank for that. But you'll see where it goes wrong. So let's go ahead and play it and take a look at what's going on here. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at the attack, see what happens here. So drops a couple barbs just to go ahead and trigger those Teslas. Should be done at the same time. That's that was one problem right there. And unfortunately, he gets more out of the loons than he thought. He thought he was going to need both the loons in order to tank some of the defenses to get the Tesla. So those are down, actually, those buildings and the Teslas. So it's not a bad funnel actually at this point, but just panics a little bit and doesn't know what to do as far as this clan castle. Now, what the easiest thing to do would be drop the barbarian king and the queen down all the way at this spell factor, at least one of them, and then you can drop the golems right underneath at each of the cannons. And that will go ahead and take the aggro for the dragons and or dragon, and they'll be able to kill it. But I think that the golems are dropped here, gets the aggro, and needs to drop the poison too extremely quickly, and that's a little bit delayed as well. So it's hitting the golem, the full breaths. At least the minions getting a little couple shots in there, and drops a couple wizards in there as well to start to get the aggro for the dragon. But that's really doing damage to that dragon. So if we go ahead and we'll stop right here, we notice what has been done and what hasn't been done. So we have cleared some of this building out, which he didn't really want to do, these buildings right here. Because if you look at this path now we have a path that goes like this, and a path that goes like this for a runway, and nothing is shooting us straight up to this core. If the king and queen hit this dark elixir, then they start to ping pong off of these buildings and do that instead of going to where they need to go. So and we'll continue this and see how it works out. So the golems take the jump because they are there for defense. The queen and king should have been dropped a while ago as well. And now if you look, the closest buildings are right here because those wizards and minions are still doing damage, and it's not a good thing for them. So right now we have a building that is all the way up to here in that length, or a building that is in the length of here. So we see how the distance between the two. These two buildings are much, much closer right here and right here. So there's absolutely no reason for them to walk up here and take this jump and start to head towards the two cannons that are way up there, and nothing to really pull them into there. And once they hit this building or this building, then they're just going to go ahead and continue to ping pong this way, because there's nothing to draw them back in, unless the queen will hit the enemy queen will hit the friendly king and queen, but it will not, because it's already aggroed on the golem. So there's no reason for it to do that. So let's continue just to see what happens. They do take their detour right there, and you know, start to take their walk, and it's not good. So you know, the queen gets a little distracted. She will start heading her way back, but you know, she's targeting the air defense, and will have to target the loon. Doesn't have the ability and will get wiped out. She probably would have been able to make it into that, if she had the ability, possibly to that cannon and to the air defense, if the Expos didn't take her out, which they probably would. So, and that jump was ending too. So anyway, we can see, you know, how that one went wrong. So let's go ahead and take a look at what you need to do as far as the correct funneling and getting your kill squad in there. So Zito is going to come in here same exact way, exact composition pretty much. Just drop one loon down there and grab that Tesla. It does not get the outer buildings, but we'll check out what happens here. So he decides he's not going to go funnel with minions. He's going to go ahead and drop these wizards down here. And that Tesla is gone. So at this point, he's going to go ahead and drop his wizards that are going to take out this building and this building. And you always want to deploy your wizards or minions or whoever's going to do the funneling on the outside first instead of the inside. And also look at the hit points of the buildings too. The barracks have lesser hit points, as well as collectors and mines, other than something like a dark elixir storage or any kind of storage units, which have a lot more, and even sometimes defenses too. So just keep that in mind as far as how many units you've got to be deploying and which ones to do first. But always the outside first, and then the wizard will walk in and start taking out these collectors, the mines as well. So in just a second, we'll go ahead and get that. Now let's take a look at this runway that we have right here. So what we have is we have a runway of buildings, and the king and queen are dropped down right here and right here. So that is our runway. So it's pushing them right up the core. Pretty soon this cannon will go down and this cannon will go down. So when these cannons go down, now our runway becomes even more narrow, like this, and into here. So the distance between this building and the queen is very, very, very short compared to the distance between the building and the storage and the elixir storage. So and plus the queen will get aggro and everything else like we talked about. So let's continue to take a look at it. Drops the jump to pull those golems in there. King and queen are walking in, and they will go ahead and take that jump, as the jump actually does a little bit of pulling itself. And the wizards take the jump as well. Start aggroing on the clan castle as well as the queen, knock the queen out, and then you know, they're forced to take out those two air defenses. They really can't take out too much more. That wizard is going to go fill in the blank as far as that other air defense, but as soon as that queen finishes, she's going to make her way to that air defense. So and you know, then they can start the rest of the raid. So very, very nicely done. We'll go ahead and stop that there, and let's go ahead and take another look at an example. Okay, so again, this is not at all to call anybody out, or I've done it a million times. I'm sure you guys have seen it a million times of bad funneling or bad deployment or bad entries. So it's, again, just an example, one of many, many, many that I see all the time. So again, we're not going to argue or talk about what place is the best entry point for this base. At this point, he's chosen to use a quad quake instead of the jump, and instead of wall breakers, or he does bring a couple wall breakers, but chooses to do a quad quake, I think, around in this area. So when you're doing a quad quake, it opens it up permanently, but you've got to look into what buildings that are going to stop your kill squad from making it into where you want to. Now, this is a Go Valo. So the goal of the Go Valo is to get the kill squad, including the Valkyries and the King and the Golem, into this area and all the way into the core to be able to take out the air defenses. Once the air defenses are taken out, the loons can be sent in on the back end. But you know that if the kill squad does not make it into the core and does not take out all three of those air defenses, the raid is dead. So that is the most important thing in for this. So if you do not get the kill squad into the core to take out those air defenses, the raid is pretty much over. Things have to go really, really well. So you don't want your Valkyries or King or anything else to go ahead and start walking on the outer edges. So again, choosing to do a lure, no lure, that's another story. That's fine. But when we quad quake into that area, we'll see that there's a bunch of trash buildings here that are going to be standing in the way. All of these buildings right here have potential of dragging our kill squad away, depending, especially if these buildings have been taken away, or these buildings right here, and these buildings have not. So again, what we have to do is we have to take a look at what defenses are in the way, and you can do things a lot of different. You have a lot of different options. You can send some hogs in from the top. This is obviously a Tesla spot here at the this point here. Well, I picked pink on pink. That's brilliant. Let's do this. Okay. So there's obviously a Tesla here. So you can send a group of 4 hogs to go ahead and take out this Tesla and then take out this archer tower. And after that's done, they'll also grab the lure. And on top of that, they'll give you a point to start being able to take out these buildings, because there'll be no more defenses there. If not, you have your work kind of cut out for you, because if we go ahead and check out what the, well, we can't check out the range. The range is going to leave, that this lab is going to be fine. It's not going to be able to be touched except for possibly the Tesla, but I think the Tesla will be out of range of a minion or an archer. But some of these other buildings, like the Builder Hut, the Dark Barracks, and the Gold Mine, are definitely going to be in range of that Tesla and the Archer Tower. So you've got to figure out a way to, to get those buildings down, or change your entry point. And I think that's where the problem is with this particular raid. So we'll take a look. We'll go ahead and fast forward. Uses the quad quake to get into there. And everything is nice and open. Even that core is open, so that's good. Grabs the lure, decides to anchor up top. So that is definitely a spot where you can go ahead and start funneling that building. But after this, you'll see that this last balloon will go down, and it's time to go ahead and deploy the goal. It's actually time to start funneling the troops. Now, this golem, wherever it's pretty much deployed, is going to grab the aggro of these 2 defenses here that I'm going to go ahead and circle. But this one is going to be out of range. So, we still have to worry about this particular thing. And now, if you want to do it a little bit differently, what you can do is you can hold back your quad quake. You can send your golem in on this spot right here and get the aggro of the archer tower, get the aggro of the cannon, get the aggro of this archer tower, and let it go ahead and start pounding. And as long as this is taken care of, as long as this archer tower is taken care of or distracted, you can start the funneling, at least on this building. But what you really want to do is take out these buildings, or at least this building right here, and this building. This building is not such a big deal, but you definitely want the gold mine, and you want the elixir collector taken out, and we'll see why. Just a second. So it starts to try to funnel, to do the funnel. The wizard gets taken out by the archer tower. The Valkyries are sent in, and if you look at it, we'll go ahead and mark that spot again. When you drop the Valkyries here, the closest building is either here, or see how far the distance is towards the first cannon, or even this right here. Even if it gets to this point, it still would have to reroute back into here, or just jump from here then to the dark elixir drill, and so forth. So either way, it's going to continue to walk around the base, and there's nothing that's going to drag it into this area right here. And without the Valkyries going into the core, the raid is pretty much over. So we'll go ahead and check out what happens here. Valkyries start walking, wizards start walking, and the king, since that now the funnel has been created, the king will walk into the core, but the king is definitely not enough to go ahead and take care of this with just the golem. You can try to heal it up, try to get those wizards in there, but it's going to be too late, and they are not going to go ahead and push through the entire core and take that out. So that raid is pretty much over at that point. All right. So let's go ahead and check out a couple of, correct funneling. And so let's go ahead and check out our number 11 on this particular war. And we're going to watch Alpha use a jump here. So he brings 3 heals and a jump. It gets the lore, which again, that's the step 1 of the attack, broken up, or phase 1. He'll use just a single poison instead of a double poison. Okay, so he sends a shattered entry here with 2 golems, and he's going to go ahead and use a jump. But again, if we're looking at this, we've got a lot of buildings in this area connected with this, and the same over here. All of these are connected together, which can make a kill squad go and start to walk. So we're going to have to take care of at least the outer or inner outer buildings of the barracks and the dark barracks to start that funneling and push the kill squad in through this area of where you want to go. He's using a go ho here, so he really just wants to get his kill squad in to take out this archer queen and trigger any kind of giant bombs or double giant bombs that can possibly be triggered. But the archer queen is the goal here. So definitely wants to get into that core and not start walking around the edge. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. And this is purely just no wall breakers, just a jump. So starts that funneling in there. And at this point, he left that one particular army camp to pull in the kill squad there. The golems will always pretty much reroute because they want to get into that defense that's hitting them. So they're not the problem. Everything else is the problem with the king and the queen. So these wizards are making their way to continue the funneling. They just killed this building. This wizard is going to kill this building in one shot. So now we've got, really for this queen, only a small little line of where she can go. She's not going to go ahead and start, she's not going to reroute all the way over to this building, and she's not going to reroute all the way over until to this building. She might go ahead and get stuck on this particular one or this particular one, but that's okay because that's still going into our funneling. So that's still, and the same thing with the king. And the king should be dropped immediately after this queen. It should have been dropped before this because you definitely don't want the king walking. But they will go ahead and take the jump, and the queen will fire, and the king will get aggro, and the raid will continue to be going, and that's fine. That's exactly what you want, and they'll get the enemy queen, and then they can start the raid the way it's going. So very, very nicely done. Now let's go ahead and check another one out. We'll go ahead and check number 16 out, and we'll watch Danker go ahead and do this, and he'll use wall breakers. So we've seen jump, we've seen a couple other things, and we're going to go check out the wall breakers. He brings 4 wall breakers, and he's bringing a go-ho as well, and I think it's cold-blooded, just 1. So he's going to use, I think, double poison, but let's just check it out if it's 1 or 2. Yeah, so he'll use double poison. So the clan castle's taken care of. That's phase 1 of just the lure. And now, again, we're going to go ahead and start, and watch this. Before any golems have been deployed or any tanks have been deployed, again, you want to look at your defenses and what their ranges are. And you can always do that by clicking on them before you make the attack and see where all these defenses are and how far they range. And we noticed that these buildings right here, at least this building right here, this one, are all out of range, except for possibly the mortar, but the wizards will be able to take them down before the mortar kills them. And I believe this one will probably be out of range as well. And once we start getting into these, this will probably be in range of the archer tower, and these will be in range of the cannon. So we could use, I think he drops a wizard here, but we could use minions here, and here, and even here, I believe, because there's nothing of air that is going to go ahead and hit those minions if we so choose. So that didn't do anything right there, but let's go ahead and check it out. So the wizards are already starting the funnel there, and then it's, you know, the golem will go ahead and grab aggro, drops the queen real quick, and those wizards are backed up right there to start that funnel. And now the only thing that could have been done a little bit differently is normally wherever your golem is, we'll go ahead and jump this in. We notice it's getting the fire from this mortar that's firing on it. So this mortar is going after this golem right here. In an optimal situation, especially if you're using wall breakers, I mean, first of all, you definitely want to use a test wall breaker just to make sure that there's not like a bomb there, a giant bomb, or spring trap or something like that, because that will ruin your wall breakers. Secondly, you're going to want to drop your wall breakers in at least a tile or two away from that golem. So that golem right here is taken under fire, and when your wall breakers are sent in, if they get hit by that mortar, which they almost always do, it's going to ruin your raid. If you notice, this cannon, this expo, this archer tower is all focused on the golem. So they're completely distracted. So if you drop a wall breaker in right here, it will go ahead and either go onto this corner right here, or straight onto here, or a little to the side, but it'll go ahead and break in, and then the golem will go ahead and reroute, and everything else will reroute in there. And that's really the optimal thing, but that's just nitpicking as far as, you know, being able to not lose your wall breakers. If you can time it really well, that's fine. He times it well, and he doesn't lose his wall breakers to the mortar, and sends his Pekka, his queen, and everything else in there, and you know, rages them up and takes care of it, of what he's trying to accomplish, which is to go ahead and take care of that archer queen and reroute it in there, and get the archer queen to start his go-ho. So, you know, again, very, very well done. It was a successful raid, and a lot of that was due to the fact that he had a good entry. All right, just two more we'll check out real quick, and I'll just use mine as examples, just because they work out pretty well. This one, it's kind of cheating, but not really. I still have to funnel. So what happens here is I'm going to go ahead and use the openness of this base and use it to my advantage. And I'll go ahead and notice that there's no walls right here. So I don't need to jump or wall break in here, but I will need to funnel, because there's a lot of trash buildings that if I drop my king or queen right here, can have them start to walk down this side, or when they break this, can start to have them walk down this side. Hopefully the queen would pull them in, but you never know. So I'm going to have to start my funneling just to make sure, because if it's not going right, it could definitely destroy my raid before it even gets started. So I'll notice that this building right here is completely out of range of anything as far as the archer tower or the air defense, as well as this building. So I can start my minion right here and choose to drop two, or just have it go from this building to this building. And if I notice right on the top here, this archer tower is out of range if I drop, I think, a minion right here, or particularly, yeah, I think it's a minion right there. And that's going to go ahead and start eliminating these buildings, and then I can go ahead and drop another minion right here, and or a wizard after I drop my golem. The golem has no problem. The golem, wherever I drop it in this whole entire area right here, is going to reroute either to this cannon or to this archer tower. So I have no problem with that, and it will grab the aggro of all of these defenses right here. So I don't have to worry about my placement on the golem too much, and as soon as I drop the golem, I can continue that funneling with the wizards, because it will grab the aggro of those defenses. So let's go ahead and check this out as it starts to unfold. And this particular one I chose to do a no lure, so you notice the two minions up top there. You know, have to deal with a little bit of the air sweeper, but it's not a really big deal. They'll go ahead and take care of it, and then I can drop my golem in there, and drop some of my wizards as that is grab and aggro, and drop my king and queen quickly afterwards, because you want them to go ahead and get all the way into that core. Now, for this particular attack, I'm doing a Laloon. That means that I want two things. My goal is to take care of this archer queen, which is very, very easy. I got very, very fortunate because they put it right there on the outskirts. And then secondly, I really optimally want to take out two air defenses. So I want to take out this one with a definite, and this one would be an added bonus, as I brought three lava hounds to go ahead and take care of the two remaining air defenses. I was a little iffy about this particular air defense up top, so wasn't sure if I was going to get this one. But they are lower level air defenses, and I had you know, 3 rages to deal with that. So I made, you know, I had an alternate plan if that wasn't going to go very well, but that was my goal. I brought a jump spell so that when I didn't have to break into the entry, but once the archer queen was taken care of, I could go ahead and drop a jump in this area right here. The goal is not to touch any of this part because I don't want it jumping into the core. My only goal is to take out the archer queen, this air defense, and then have it jump and make its way into this to take out the the second air defense. So could be done a lot of different ways. I could have brought wall breakers to do it. I think jump is, for me, is a lot more reliable, and I could afford it with this particular base. You got to know what you're attacking. So we'll go ahead and check it out. That king, the friendly king, takes out the enemy queen. Drop a jump down there so the golems will go ahead and take out that defense, and then strictly reroute right after that. Queen takes care of that wizard tower, takes the semi-jump. Golem is tanking, and I don't know why it's hitting the wall, but it is. And the wizard takes out that first air defense, so I do get kind of lucky in there. The queen will go ahead and take the jump due to the clan castle and make its way into the other compartment after this is done. Drop the poisons, and then it will take care of that that air defense and then the archer tower. So everything's fine. The rest of the deployment, it's fine. I actually didn't expect to get that, so was kind of surprised. Sent 2 loons in by accident. I actually thought I was starting my Laloon deployment for that top air defense, which was actually down. But got the 3-star, so that's no problem. And then finally, the last one is my attack on 15, and this one I'm going to use a quad quake. So, very simple go-ho on this particular one. My main goal for this is to go ahead and get my kill squad from the south here in the 6 o'clock position, straight up here, take out this archer queen, and you know, any of these buildings, these high, you know, defense like the expos or anything like that, these areas right here, and take care of them if possible, and you know, make it easier for my hogs. So, but the main objective is to get the archer queen down. So I'm going to go, I believe I go stoned here. So we haven't done a stoned yet. So that means that I'm going to bring 3 golems. But there's a lot of buildings, again, with this type of deployment. You can jump from this building and continue to keep going and walking around, since the buildings are so close together that you know, you want to go ahead and eliminate that pathing for it. So again, we'll check out and see what's available. These buildings right here are out of the range of the archer tower and the wizard tower. They would get hit by the mortar, at least the bottom dark barracks. This one could potentially get hit by a mortar. So we'll use minions to funnel that in there. And as soon as I drop in 2 golems, I'll drop 1 here, and I'll drop 1 here, which decides to actually walk all the way over here for some reason. But this golem right here will be tanking this wizard tower, this mortar, this archer tower, this cannon, and possibly this. I'm not sure if it does. I think it does, actually. So that would that'll allow me to go ahead and use wizards to go ahead and take out these buildings, and then on the opposite side, that golem will go ahead and distract this, and possibly the expo, which allows me to drop wizards into there and start funneling. So we'll go ahead and start seeing that. when to use the quad quake, it depends how quickly you need to get into the core. For me, I need to do my funneling first before I do the getting them into that core. So I need to take out all the trash buildings on the sides, the ones I just said, and then once that's done and I have a runway to get my kill squad in there, then I can go ahead and use my quad quake and reroute my golems in there. So I'll do a simple lure and go ahead and take care of that. Since I did not bring a poison, that's not part of the raid. So very easy kill, and start the minion funneling right there on one side, and I'll start to use the golem on the other two sides, and then I can right after that follow up with the wizards on each one of those sides. And I really want to leave some of those buildings up in the middle. Once I see that they're starting to go down in the middle, I need to drop my queen to push her in there, use the quad quake to reroute the golems, and then I can drop the king behind right after that. The only thing I did wrong in this particular raid is I dropped my stone golem, my last max golem, a little bit late. That should have gone in right with the queen, or right at least with the king. It didn't work out too bad, but that's fine. They get a lot of this taken care of. The hog should have been deployed a little bit earlier. They should have been deployed by now, or about 10-15 seconds ago. But that golem will go ahead and tank for the rest of it, and the queen gets a lot of accomplished with the golem tanking. So anyway, that's some of the things I've seen. Most of the time, the units, they do what you want them to if you deploy them at the right time. Give them the runway and hold their hand the entire way. Show them exactly where you want them to go. Any stray buildings, and they will jump to that. Make sure you're doing your funneling properly. Make sure you've got your ideas of what units that can take out specific trash buildings and what defenses are going to or not going to hit them. Have a couple backup plans just in case things go awry. But if you go ahead and you take these things into consideration, your Town Hall 8+ raid should go a lot smoother, and at least your entries will go in much better, and you'll be able to use your third phase of the actual hogs or loons or whatever, or hound deployment. Will make that a lot more feasible and a lot easier.